Hey everybody, it's Timothy Stone Dancer Coleman. We're here with another episode of the Colors of Sound podcast. I'm so excited today to introduce you to an amazing gentleman who is in multiple types of industries, who has so many things going for him that it's even better for me to let him explain, kind of his past, his path, and his trajectory. Chef LeVar. Chef, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, Tim, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I really, really appreciate you being here. There's so many things to cover because you have accomplished so many things in your lifetime, and I know that from knowing you, the best is yet to come. Right? So we're on our way moving forward. So for the audience, I want you to please give us a quick introduction to where are you from, where do you currently live, and what do you currently do?
So again, my name is Chef LeVar, and I grew up in the South Bronx. Moved around a little bit in the Bronx. I had a chance to go to high school and went to culinary school at about 18, 19 years old. And then I started working for some nonprofits throughout New York City and doing some Meals on Wheels programs. And I think that kind of started my path to giving back to the community, because being able to prepare meals and distribute meals for homebound seniors throughout New York City, both in the Bronx and in Spanish Harlem, was really eye-opening for me, and really gave me an opportunity to see how food plays such a large part in our culture and just in the overall city and the daily movement of the city. So I started to see how can I give back, and the pandemic kind of opened up get some chefs along and on board with me, and we prepared meals, and we started our first food giveaway in the Bronx on 149th Street. And then I had an opportunity to work with some other chefs. And then we did another event in Harlem for Thanksgiving. And we did another event for Mother's Day. And they just started to gain some momentum and some popularity. To people was like, hey, man, you should start a foundation. We want to give. We want to, we want to do this. So that's really where I am right now, trying to focus on giving back. Sometimes you see chefs and all you really see is, you just see them on television, or you see them on their social media. But I want to be a chef that leaves a legacy of philanthropy and giving back to the community. I always tell people, I can't be in my house eating shrimp and lobster, knowing that there's people out there that haven't eaten all day. That's the way I look at it, and anything I can do to give back, that's what the next step is, just finding some ways to continue to give back.
So that's really dope, right? Like, I mean, there are very few people in our society who, when they start to experience, success, there are very few people who automatically have it in them innately to immediately start to think about, okay, I'm experiencing this, but now how do I automatically start giving back at the same time, right?
Right.
So I want to take a step back. How did you even get interested in cooking? Where did that come from? Was that something that was with you as a kid, or did somebody come along that you started to see in the kitchen, or you experienced in the world and that came about? Like, how did that start?
Well, it started with my mom and my great grandmother. Sunday dinner was a staple in the home, and dinner was ready at 3 p.m. We didn't eat dinner at 8, 9 o'clock. We ate dinner around the dinner table, and we it was eat your vegetables, and you can't get any dessert till you eat your vegetables. So I grew up in a household where, one, eating together was important, and being able to touch base with one another and kind of decompress with one another, and just having that moment of fellowship with family was important. And that kind of started my culinary journey, because, what kid doesn't love food? And, cooking with mom and cooking with my great grandmother, I just had an opportunity to be exposed to food in a way that was also I'm sorry, also through church.
Mhm.
Going to church, I spent a lot of time in church. So, after church service, there was always a meal being prepared.
Yeah.
So we would come together and we would eat after church, and every year at church, they would have what was called a international dinner.
Mhm.
And since our as far as West Indian, we had people that were from Haiti. We had Hispanic members. We had African American, and so forth and so on. That
Mhm.
gave everyone an opportunity to bring a dish, and we would have about 15 different um, cuisines representing different regions of the world. And
Nice.
it was just a really, really good time. And people looked forward to it. Some people you don't see them all year, but this one event,
Right. Right.
some people just show up, but food does
Right.
that.
That's right.
Food does that. And that's the beauty. And that's one of the things that I love about food, because food brings people together. You might not see a family member all year, but you can pretty much guarantee that Thanksgiving, that person will probably be there. So just my mom, my great grandmother, they were my inspiration behind food. So that really started my journey with my culinary journey.
That's dope. That's dope. So I know that this is the quintessential thing that all chefs hate to be asked, right? What's your favorite thing to cook? What is the thing? Like if somebody said, what are like two of Chef LeVar's like signature dishes? What would you say?
Um, what would I say? I don't know. Because um, I've been asked a lot. What do you cook the best?
Hmm.
And I felt like if it was only one thing I cooked the best, that limits me and puts me in a box.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I did, a beef bolognese, um, very well, I'd be just known for that. But
Right.
why not be known for beef bolognese and other Italian dishes, as far as being able to prepare things in other cuisines throughout the world?
Hmm.
Um, I wanted to be versatile and have a repertoire to where I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people get disappointed when I don't have an answer, because they say, "What do you cook the best?" I was like, I don't know. Like, I can cook
Well,
anything.
yeah.
I
So
challenge
I
myself.
know, right? So I know you can cook a ton of things, right? So
Hmm.
just so the audience knows, there was a day when I
Hmm.
got a chance to shadow chef, right? And I saw
Yes.
him. He's the executive chef of more than one location, and so
Hmm.
I shadowed him for a moment, and I saw him prepare like a ton of different things. So I wouldn't say what do you cook the best. I think what do you love to cook, right? Is a better
Maybe
question,
that's a better
right?
question.
Yeah, that's a better question. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that, because food does bring us together, right? Like I
Yeah.
know that there are certain things that when my mom, when I go back home to the Midwest and my mom cooks, there are certain things that are like heartwarming and like
Yeah.
soul fulfilling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
what are a couple of things that you love to cook? Um while the audience still understands that you're a multi-talented person, like being a chef, we're
Mhm.
only talking about one
Right.
lane of all the things that you do, so we're going to move over to like some of those other things,
Right.
but like what's that heartwarming thing that when you start going for it, you're like, they getting ready to
I would
get it.
I would I would I would say Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Those Thanksgiving, that soul food, comfort food, and that's something that I do alone. When we would have Thanksgivings together, it's been a while, due to the pandemic, but when we have Thanksgiving together, sometimes you have your aunt, she wants to bring this dish and this one wants to bring. I said, no, I'll cook everything. Don't everybody just come
Right.
and eat, because it's like, well, if somebody messes up the mac and cheese, Thanksgiving's ruined, so at least I know that the mac and cheese is going to be good. At least I know the
Yes.
yams are going to be good. So
Yes.
those are like staples for Thanksgiving Day. So we can't have somebody, freestyling. So I would just kind of do things on my own. So Thanksgiving and comfort food and soul food is really something that I'm just in the zone and I'm just like, focused on.
I love it. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So building on the things that are to come as people begin to see your empire take form, I know, so we've got, Chef LeVar as the chef, but we also have Chef LeVar as the upcoming author, right? We know well, I know you're working on a cookbook.
Hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for that and what you hope to share with people, what you hope that for the audience to receive as they read through your cookbook, as they prepare some of the things that you've selected to be in the book.
Well, the cookbook really focuses on dishes that are really well known dishes and kind of classics and staples, but also manageable. A lot of
Hmm.
times, sometimes you see dishes on television or magazines, and we're wowed, but we don't feel like we can accomplish that because through a picture or video, it just seems like so much is going on and there's so many different details and components to a dish.
Right.
So in the recipes, I try to keep the recipes, 7 to 8 ingredients tops.
Hmm.
So one, if people who are, worried about costs, you know, they're not breaking the bank to prepare this dish, but also
Right.
offering some alternatives. If you can't use, lobster meat, you can use, langoustine. If you can't use that, you can use shrimp. So having different options, in a cookbook or substitutions,
Hmm.
and it'll only have about maybe 15 recipes in it to start. And also it'll be some of my favorites incorporated into the book. Some of my, shrimp and grits is a
Oh yeah.
classic, but not being afraid to think outside the box.
Hmm.
Yeah, anyone can make shrimp and grits, but step outside the box and use some smoked Gouda cheese instead of just sprinkling some just some regular American, grated American. Being a little adventurous when it
Hmm.
comes to food, I feel a lot of times um we play it safe.
Yeah.
I go out to eat with people sometimes and they order just the most simplest, just the regular thing. It's like, food is an experience. When you go to
Yes.
dining for me is an experience. I like to go to different restaurants, but I went to eat yesterday and I said I'm going to be a little adventurous and I'm going to try something, that I don't usually try. And sometimes it's a hit or miss, but but at least you had that experience
That's right.
with food. Food is such a personal relationship. It's like meeting a boyfriend or a girlfriend for the first time. You kind of don't know what to expect. You see something on the outside, but until
Yes.
you really spend time and really you don't know. And then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, but then sometimes like, wow, this is a really cool experience. So
Yes, yes, yes. Adventure. Like I always
yeah,
tell, my nieces and nephews always go for the adventure, right? I
yeah.
think one of the things that you said really triggers something for me because you're talking about when we go out to eat, um, you know, there are a lot of people who play it safe because they're like, "Oh, well, I already know what I like. I'm just going to stick with this."
Hmm.
Right? And my father was one of those people where he
Hmm.
didn't really adventure out to a whole bunch of types of options no matter where we went. Like he kept it
Hmm.
real simple. And I like what you're saying regarding taking a chance on something new, right?
Hmm.
So one of the things that I received from your description of your cookbook and what's to come is um you know that it's going to be for people who might be in high school, but it also could be for adults who have an empty nest. Like
Hmm.
here's a cookbook of recipes that are interchangeable,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
and that are simple enough that anyone can get these ingredients from any economic status of your family
Hmm.
or your personal situation and
Hmm.
still enjoy a great meal.
Right, right, and I think that's important because um, food is not as pretentious and as stuffy as the magazines or sometimes social media can make it appear to be. There are ways that you can create some lavish, elegant dishes without
Hmm.
breaking the bank,
Yeah.
and can also offer a wow factor for those who are eating the meal. So I think it's important to have a combination of just being realistic and being authentic and not having something, so out of bounds that people feel intimidated and they won't want to give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So we have Chef, the chef. We have
Hmm.
Chef, the author. And
Hmm.
then soon we have Chef, the television star. Right.
Yes.
So, right. So talk to us about, like, in your mind, the development of your show. And I know it's in process and pre-production right now, but like, what is it that you're shooting for with the show? What is it? Give us like a quick little snippet of like what's something we might see when we tune in.
So I don't know. I'm probably dating myself, but years ago there used to be a show on channel, I believe it was channel 68 or 69, and it was called Video Music Box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And anybody can kind of get a little opportunity to kind of showcase their talent, and they had little videos and things like that. And I think it would come on super late at night, so most of the time we would miss it because we were too young to stay up that late and watch it. But it was an opportunity for artists to showcase their talent, and that was something that I was really interested in and try to figure out a way to merge food and music, because
Hmm.
that's something that you don't really see. And not only just food and music, but also culture,
Yes,
because those are, to me, are the three things that bring people together, that
yes.
breaks barriers. Music, a lot of times you don't really see um, a lot of different nationalities and races coming together until it's music, until
Yes,
it's a concert.
that's
Same
right.
thing with sports. Same
Hmm.
thing with restaurants. A lot of times you won't see a number of various cultures and ethnicities until there's some type of food involved. I know right now the San Gennaro Festival is going on downtown and Manhattan. Everybody's down there. Everybody from all walks of life and races and ethnicities are down there partaking in a
Hmm.
food festival that is predominantly of the Italian heritage, but
Hmm.
it's bringing everyone together because that's what food does. So
Nice.
that's one of the things I wanted to do with the show, is bring music, food, and culture together, and also giving up and coming artists, whether it's in the culinary world or whether it's in the music and arts and culture,
Hmm.
an opportunity to kind of come and kind of speak on what they're working on and give them
Hmm.
an outlet. Just talk about things like mental health,
Hmm.
talk about things about their journey, their pathway, their career. So that's pretty much what the show is going to be.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
Yes, I
you. Thank
receive it. That's going to be great. That's going to be great. And I
Thank
mean,
you.
I also love being here at the beginning, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of folks are, this is the type of interview where people will come back years later and be like, oh,
Hmm.
wow, that's Chef,
Hmm.
right? Like
Right.
before we
Right.
knew him as the global brand,
Right.
the global TV star, the global this and that.
Right.
So as we begin to wrap this up, I would
Hmm.
I would love to hear from you in terms of your legacy,
Hmm.
right? Like, I know you're a person who barely sleeps. I know you're a person with
Hmm.
like multiple multiple things that you're doing. You're always out feeding the community. You're always creating opportunities to allow people to experience great food for free.
Yes.
In cases where they might be underserved or
Yeah.
or in communities that are underserved. Um, what does your legacy look like, right? Like, we think 5, 10, 15 years from now, what is it that you seek to accomplish in these next 10 years, that you hope people will receive?
Well, with the um, feeding people, with that component, that is really the legacy that I want to leave, as far as being an inspiration, to show people how simple it is. A lot of times I get phone calls from people and they are saying, hey, chef, I want to feed, some people for Thanksgiving. I'll just use that as an example. Or I want to
Hmm.
feed some people for Christmas.
Hmm.
How do I do it? I said, well, how do you feed yourself? Right? You prepare some food, you package it, and then you may carry your lunch with you to work. Do it the same concept, but maybe this time do it for 10 people as opposed to, and then later on you scale, you call friends and you get families, and that 10 turns into 20, and that 20 turns into 40, and so forth and so on. So if I can use my platforms to encourage people, if we one person can't change the whole world, but if one person can get another person, and that person can get another person, then you'll have a bunch of people trying to change the world, and
That's right.
the impact will be noticeable. You'll
Yeah,
see the impact. And I'm a true believer that everybody can do something.
that's right.
Everybody can do something. Everyone, all right, granted, everyone may not be able to cook, but everyone can help in some way, shape, or form, whether it's through monetary, whether it's through time, whether it's through hands. Sometimes we forget how important our hands are to, volunteer at our local soup kitchens or volunteer at our local Meals on Wheels programs and
Yes.
donate some time. So that's really the legacy I want to leave, is just giving back, teaching, teaching young people. I teach at the college now as well, so I have an opportunity to teach. And one of the things that we've been talking about is our mental health,
Hmm.
and being able to navigate life as a culinarian, as a teen, as a young adult, as a parent, as a single parent. And those are the conversations that are not being had in the culinary world. Sometimes we just see the glamour and the lights and the camera and action, but it's like there's a person under this apron. There's a
That's right.
father, there's a mother under this apron. And if y'all, sometimes you just see the shell, the outside, but we want to be able to deal with the underlying issues so that we can be productive, and we can help people along our journeys as well.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. Listen, I applaud you for everything that you've done that people will continue to discover along the way. I love how low key you play it. I've seen some of the things, if folks want to follow you on Insta, it's at Chef LeVar.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that people tune in and check out what it is that you actually are doing, because what's great about your approach to who you are and who you are in the world is that it is you are one of like the most least self-serving people I've ever
Thank
met.
you.
And I
Thank you.
feel like everybody else, it's like as if somebody shows up with a spotlight and you just take your
Mhm.
finger and you push it right back onto the community. Like the spotlight is on them, not on me,
Right,
right? And I
right,
and I
right.
appreciate that approach. Um,
Thank you.
I know for a fact from watching you that the community appreciates that approach.
Mhm.
And, we look forward to the release of your book. We look forward to the release of your television show. And I really personally look forward to all of the people in the world who continue to discover you, on their day one, right? Your overnight success, right? As they begin to experience a person who is a chef, who is a minister, who is a community servant. And I
Mhm.
appreciate, that you took a minute to be here with us on the Colors of Sound podcast. I appreciate, that you are, we'll share all the links and all the things that you're doing in the community. Are there
Mhm.
any final thoughts? Is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up?
No, I just want to thank you, Tim, for since we've met, you've been like one of my biggest supporters and one of my biggest coaches. Like Tim is like the coach. He's a life coach. He's an amazing friend, just kind of like a brother. And things like that
Thank
don't
you.
happen very often, but being able to have somebody to kind of, say, hey, I think this is good. No, let's try it this way, and just give some real authentic and genuine feedback,
Yeah.
is really much appreciated. I'm learning from you. And I sit down with my wife. I'm like, Tim showed me this. Tim showed me that. Let's do it. So I'm learning from you, and I'm just hoping that we continue to build off this relationship, and this
Amen.
way, just take, this journey together, and we go from there.
And we go from there, brother. Listen, I'm here and whatever I can do, I am definitely going to do it. I'm committed to it. I believe in
Thank you.
you. And, you know, I also have had a chance to meet your amazing wife, and I love how supportive she is.
Thank you.
And just even from the second that I saw the two of you together, I was like, what a perfect couple. So, you know what I'm saying? So I, you know, blessings
Thanks,
to
man.
you guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much again for joining us. And I will let you know when this goes live. And, you know, we'll make sure that we do everything we can to make sure people know how to find you.
Thank you so much, Tim. I much appreciate it, man.
All right, my brother. Pleasure to speak with you. Have a beautiful day. Have a wonderful event. I know it's coming up soon and you got to go. I know you're probably like dicing stuff, like, you know, off camera right now. All right. All right. So have a great day, man. Thank you.
Thank you, man. God bless you. Thank
All
you,
right.
man.
God bless. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.